everybody, it's Mimi here. And yeah, I guess it's about time that I did say something about the whole K-pop scandal that's been going on. Philip Defranco did a second video of it yesterday, and the first video showed more incriminating evidence. The first one, the reason I didn't say anything like the first time that it came out was, okay, for those that don't know, there's a scandal in Korean entertainment right now, whereas some former K-pop artist owns nightclubs. He's a DJ. He owns nightclubs, and there has been some illegal activities in the nightclubs. At first, it was drug trafficking and sex trafficking. But again, there wasn't really any hardcore evidence until Philip DeFranco's video, which was blew up everywhere when there was some evidence that certain people were being hired out of the club to assault other people. So basically, they took the security from in the VIP lounge at the nightclub, they paid them to literally attack other VIP members. So they were basically being hired hitmen. From there, a huge amount of the scandal broke out, like corruption in the police department. Lots of powerful people that make lots of money in the entertainment industry, people that own companies have been involved, and it goes pretty high up the chain now that more evidence did come out as proof. I'll leave links to both the Philip DeFranco. First of all, this is no surprise. I can attest to the whole corruption of the South Korean police department. It goes back to with Simon and Martina. Simon and Martina had started off YouTube being like a South Korean like tourist channel, like hotspots in South Korea. It was called EatyourKimchi, and now they live in Japan, so they're doing the same type of thing there. But they started off in South Korea, and they were doing, videos for tourism. One of the interns was hit by a drunk driver, and her name was Rose, and she was hit by a drunk driver. The drunk driver got off pretty much without any reprimand. He paid the police department off large amount of money so that it could all be swept away. And at that time, Rose was hurt pretty badly. She did manage to make it. She survived. Thank goodness for that. She did survive, but the person involved in the drunk driving hit and run basically just paid the police department off and got off scot-free. Another thing is, I can believe that the whole thing about women trying to come forward and not being able to have their say be said is that, okay, with my friend, the one who was trying to be the K-pop idol, she's had stalkers get to a point where it was frightening. It's kind of like an everyday thing that they have to go through, especially if you're a pretty young woman in South Korea, which is sad because you shouldn't have to worry about this kind of thing happening. But if you're single, especially, and you're in South Korea, a lot of times you get stalked by people. Yooa of Oh My Girl has said this before, that in order to protect herself, she had to become a K-pop idol in order to, put herself in the public eye more because she was being stalked so much. So the same thing goes with my friend, okay? There were several times when a stalker had gotten pretty close to her, but there was this one time where she attempted to go to the police because it got so frightening. He was there morning till night. As soon as she got up, there were gifts on her doorstep, and he was getting closer and closer to her, and he attempted to talk to her on a couple of occasions. So this made her very frightened, and so she tried to make a police report. They did nothing. The police did nothing they kind of just brushed it off as like, haha, oh, okay, well, we'll watch. We'll make sure that he's taken care of or whatever. Don't worry about it. And then they just kind of blew it off. So what she ended up having to do was hire her own form of private security and eventually confront the guy with her security to leave her alone. Eventually he did leave her alone, but still it had to get to a point where she had to find a way to defend herself outside of getting police protection, and police are supposed to be there to protect the public. However, this doesn't happen a lot for a lot of females, and obviously you saw there are some, and if you watch on the Philip DeFranco video, you'll see that there are some protests that go on, that it has been an issue with a lot of women in South Korea where men are just taking their pictures and things like that, and without them, giving their consent for it. So, not to mention, South Korea is a very conservative country in the first place. Anytime anything happens, it can either, it could either be seemingly blown out of proportion or just stand out. Okay, but this is a very serious situation that is occurring at this moment. And it's not like this kind of stuff doesn't happen in every country. Okay, like I know that there's a lot of stuff that happens in American celebrity or entertainment, and there's a lot of scandals that happen. It's not uncommon, but because of the fact that South Korea tends to want to appeal with a certain type of image, it does all that it can to hide all evidence of anything to the contrary. So a lot of times, anything that has anything to do with maybe child abuse or sexual harassment, things of that nature, gets hushed up pretty quickly. And it's all because it's all for the sake of making the nation appear a lot more wholesome and a lot more in control than what they want the public to know about. Problem is that with K-pop spreading as much as it is, more of the world is watching, and this is allowing the young people in South Korea to voice their opinions more, become individuals, become more independent of that type of lifestyle, of that conservative lifestyle. So with that occurring, there's going to be people that stand out and stand up for their rights and say that these kinds of things, like drugs are bad, or sex trafficking is bad, or like I didn't consent to this type of thing happening. I don't think it's okay. And so they're going to go to the public, and they're going to, because there's a voice now for them. Whereas before in South Korea, it wasn't there. There was really no way a lot of these people would have been able to have been heard. I mean, this would have been it's a good thing, because it might be just the tip of the iceberg, but you have to start somewhere. And the people are not liking the fact that this kind of stuff is happening in their country, and you can see that they want change. And the best way to like have any type of like change that makes an impact is to expose the wounds for what they are. And this may not be the last thing we hear regarding Korean entertainment industry, especially because of its popularity. And that's all I'm saying, is that it's not a big surprise that this was going to happen. The next thing that I think would be happening would be regarding children now. I have a feeling that there is going to be something with underage girls or boys doing things that might come out in the news. But then again, that's all speculation. Again, I always end my videos with my own thoughts and my own speculations as to what's going to happen in the future, or what we might be expected to see. And what I'm expecting to see is more stuff regarding underage activities that were illegal. So, remember, you make the world a better place just by being and existing. Thank you all so much for your patience, and I love you. See you next time. Bye.